It's surreal how one day you think your life is solid, secure, built on a foundation of trust and love, only to find out that everything you believed in was a lie. That's what happened to me. The life I thought I had, the wife, the family, the stability, crumbled in a way that I never saw coming. And what hurt even more was realizing that the one person I always counted on, my mother, was a part of the betrayal. For years, I thought my marriage was strong. Sure, we had our ups and downs, just like any other couple, but I never doubted my wife, Amanda. We met when I was in my late 20s, both of us eager to settle down, build a family, and create a life together. We got married within a year of meeting, and I truly believe she was the one for me. We were partners, a team, at least. That's what I thought. Looking back, I see the signs that I ignored. The late nights that Amanda said were for work, the occasional coldness that I brushed off as stress, the moments when she was distant for no apparent reason. But I trusted her completely. I loved her, and in my mind, that meant believing in her without question. Then, one day, my world came crashing down. I found out by accident. It was never supposed to come to light, at least not the way it did. Amanda had left her phone at home, and I picked it up, intending to call her office and let her know. I wasn't snooping, but as I opened her messages to check for any missed calls, there was a thread with someone I didn't recognize, full of words that made my stomach turn. They weren't the kind of messages you send to a coworker or even a friend. They were intimate, detailed, full of affection and promises of future meetups. My hands shook as I scrolled through years of their exchanges, the realization sinking in that this wasn't a one-time fling. Amanda had been cheating on me for 8 years. 8 long years, most of our marriage. At first, I felt numb. I couldn't even comprehend it. I stared at the phone, reading message after message, trying to understand how the woman I had shared my life with, the person I thought I knew better than anyone, had been living a double life for nearly a decade. The betrayal was so complete, so deep, that it didn't even feel real. I confronted Amanda that night. I wasn't angry at first, just confused, heartbroken, desperate for an explanation that would make any of this make sense. But there was no explanation that could undo what she had done. She didn't deny it. In fact, she barely reacted. She told me she had fallen out of love with me years ago, that the affair had filled a void in her life. It was like a punch to the gut. How had I been so blind? But as if the affair wasn't enough, what came next was what truly shattered me. In the aftermath of my discovery, as I was trying to make sense of everything, I turned to my mother. She had always been my rock, the person I leaned on when life got tough. I thought she would be furious on my behalf, that she would support me through the pain. But when I told her what had happened, she didn't react the way I expected. Instead of comforting me, she was calm, too calm. She didn't seem surprised. In fact, she told me that she had known about the affair for years. She had kept Amanda's secret, all in the name of keeping the family together. "You have children," she said, as if that excused the betrayal. "It's better to keep the peace." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. My own mother had chosen to side with the woman who had been lying to me for years. She had supported Amanda's deception, allowed it to continue, all because she thought it was better for everyone involved. But better for who? Certainly not for me. My mother had betrayed me just as deeply as Amanda had. It felt like I had lost everything in that moment. Not only was my marriage a lie, but the trust one had in my own family had been obliterated. My mother, the one person I had always believed would stand by me no matter what, had taken Amanda's side, had kept her secret, and had watched me live in ignorance for years. It was too much to process. I didn't know what to do next. I felt like I was drowning in the weight of it all. The betrayal, the lies, the sense of abandonment. It was overwhelming. I tried to hold it together for a while, tried to figure out how to salvage something from the wreckage of my life. But the more I thought about it, the more I realized that I couldn't stay. I couldn't keep living a life that was built on lies and deception. I had to walk away. So, I did. I packed my things and left. I cut off all contact with Amanda, filed for divorce, and walked away from the life we had built together. It wasn't just the end of my marriage. It was the end of my relationship with my mother, too. I cut her off completely, refusing to take her calls or respond to her messages. She had made her choice, and it wasn't me. Walking away was the hardest thing I've ever done. I had spent years building a life with Amanda, and even though it was built on lies, it still felt like I was losing a part of myself. The divorce was brutal, not because of the legal process, but because of the emotional toll it took on me. I had to come to terms with the fact that the woman I had loved, the woman I had promised to spend the rest of my life with, had never really been mine. As for my mother, the loss of that relationship hurt just as much, if not more. I had always trusted her, always believed that she had my best interests at heart. But in the end, She had chosen to protect Amanda's secret instead of protecting me. I couldn't forgive that. Life after the divorce was hard. I felt like a shell of the person I used to be. I had lost my wife, my family, and the sense of stability that had once grounded me. I was alone, cut off from the people who had been at the center of my life for so long. The loneliness was crushing at times, but it was better than living in a web of lies. I moved to a new city, far away from the memories of my old life. It was a chance to start over, to rebuild myself from the ground up. I found a new job, made new friends, and slowly began to piece my life back together. It wasn't easy. There were days when the weight of the betrayal felt unbearable, when I questioned whether I would ever be able to trust anyone again. But over time, I began to heal. One thing that became clear to me in the aftermath of everything was that trust is fragile. It can take years to build, but only a moment to destroy. I had trusted Amanda with my heart, and I had trusted my mother with my life. Both of them had broken that trust, and there was no going back. I don't regret cutting them off. Some people might think it's harsh, but I know it was the right decision. I couldn't keep toxic people in my life, no matter who they were. Amanda and my mother had both proven that they weren't worthy of my trust, and I wasn't going to give them the chance to hurt me again. In the years since I left, I found a sense of peace that I never thought I'd have. It's not the life I envisioned for myself, but it's mine. I've learned to be okay with being alone, with relying on myself instead of others. It's been a journey, but I'm stronger now than I ever was before. As for Amanda and my mother, I don't know what's become of them, and I don't care to find out. They're part of my past now, a chapter of my life that's closed. I've moved on, and I have no intention of looking back. In the end, the betrayal didn't break me. It changed me, shaped me in ways I never expected, but it didn't destroy me. I've come out the other side stronger, more resilient, and more aware of who I am and what I deserve. I've learned that sometimes, walking away is the only way to save yourself, and I have no regrets about the choices I've made. I'm free now, free from the lies, the deception, and the people who didn't value me. And for the first time in a long time, I'm at peace. As time passed, I realized that cutting them off wasn't just an act of self-preservation. It was the first step toward reclaiming my life. There was no room for toxic relationships in the future I was building. I had spent too long sacrificing my own happiness, my own peace, for the sake of others who didn't deserve it. In moments of reflection, I sometimes wonder what my life would have been like if I had never found out about the affair. Would I have continued living in blissful ignorance, believing that I had a perfect marriage and a supportive mother? Or was this betrayal, as painful as it was, necessary to break free from a life that wasn't truly mine? I'll never have the answers, and maybe I don't need them. What matters is that I'm here now, standing on my own 2 feet, no longer weighed down by the lies of others. The bitterness and anger that once consumed me have faded, replaced by a quiet acceptance. I'm stronger for what I've been through, and I know now that my worth isn't tied to the people who betrayed me. Life is far from perfect, but it's mine. I built something new, something honest, something I can be proud of, and as I move forward, I carry with me the knowledge that I survived the worst and came out the other side, not broken, but whole. In the end, I found peace within myself, and that is something no one can ever take away from me again.